Hello, join us as we go live to the Middle East in the context of the increased hostilities that are taking place in the region, also amid the retaliatory actions of Iran towards Israel after the first terrorist attack performed by Israel against the Iranian people on June 13th. This is the 18th wave of missiles, of retaliatory missiles launched by Iran and its Revolutionary Guard forces in this Operation True Promise 3 that is ongoing. It's unfolding in this moment, 1 week after the outbreak of this tension, of this further increased tensions in the Middle East following Iran's attack on Israel's attack on Iran on June 13th last week. Iran at this moment, a few moments ago, launched a dozen ballistic missiles towards Israel, achieving at least one impact recorded in the central area of the Jewish state, according to Israeli media reports. Also, Israeli air defenses attempt to intercept Iranian missiles over Tel-Aviv in central occupied Palestine as well. Emergency teams are at this moment also trying to find if there are any victims following these retaliatory actions that also have a precision and is also targeting military facilities and also strategic points of Israel in the capital, Tel Aviv, also in one of the main cities of the country and one of the most important cities of the country, which is Haifa, and also is targeting military points and key logistical points of Israel in the Palestinian occupied territories. There are breaking news at this hour as well. Israeli occupation airstrikes hit also at this moment as we speak the city of Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip. The genocide is also on the move at this moment, in spite of the tensions that are also growing between Iran and Israel. Israel keeps its effort of the ethnic cleansing against the people of Palestine in the Gaza Strip is also on the move, on the moment. Also following these retaliatory missiles and its impacts, there are fragments as well of the Iranian missile that struck Tel Aviv in central occupied Palestine. Casualties and individuals are among the settlers after Iranian missiles struck in central occupied Palestine are also reported following this 18th wave of retaliatory actions. Also, a fire broke out after an Iranian missile struck a building in Holland in central occupied Palestine. Also, a direct hit of an Iranian missile hit in a building in Tel Aviv as well. So there have been several cities impacted in this new wave of actions by Iran, and as the country launched a dozen of ballistic missiles towards Israel, several cities of Israel, the capital Tel Aviv, also Haifa, also the Palestinian occupied territories. Nablus, for example, in West Bank also has been one of the key points in which Iran has been targeting with a very precise fast location, this in its attempt to also demonstrate its right to self-defense. Let's recall that Iran has been executing an unprecedented response against Israel through precise and focused strikes that hit the heart of Tel Aviv and sensitive and also strategic targets during the retaliation efforts that have been non-stop since the tensions broke out on June 13th. For years, Iran adopted a strategy of deterrence on the brink of the escalation without provoking a major explosion in its confrontations with Israel, despite multiple events like the assassinations of scientists and leaders, attacks on political and military figures, also offensive against the nuclear, military and security facilities. But there is a moment in which Iran has said that enough is enough, and now the country is willing to prove and exercise its right to self-defense. defense. The Iranian attacks against the Israeli strategic hinterland has been pursuing multiple objectives and are not random but carefully calculated in their timing and target. The Iranis at this moment, through the voices of their main leaders, specifically the supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, they have been reaffirming a parity in response and consolidated deterrence as well. Any attack against the Iranian hinterland will be immediately and directly responded to in the heart of Tel Aviv itself and in its strategic centers. This is what the authorities, the high authorities, military authorities and the authorities of the country have been insisting. Iran is not going to be alibi in this situation, is going to keep defending its right to self-defense, and it's also something that the foreign minister has been mentioning in a few earlier today, that Iran was going to keep its operation for its self-defense, and is this, I mean, a war that Iran doesn't started, and is going to keep defending the right of the country to defend their sovereignty and also to defend the life of their citizens amid the major threat that imposes and signifies the Israeli Zionist regime led by Benjamin Netanyahu in this war with which he has been obsessed with, Netanyahu, for over decades. At this point, Netanyahu has been mentioning for decades its willingness to invade and to attack Iran with the sole purpose of halting Iran's nuclear program, that it has an intention, a civil intention for the benefit of the people, and not to use it on military purposes, not, for example, as Iran is saying, as Israel is saying, Iran has no purpose of building an atomic bomb. However, this is a moment in which Israel is trying to make the world believe that Iran has the purpose of, and according to an old narrative of Israel, is saying that Iran represents a threat for the region because of its alleged intentions of building a nuclear bomb. However, we have been seeing for years how the only threat for the Middle East is actually the